Just two words: global oligopoly. These simple looking two words contains the strength behind the US markets and why every American or every global investor would want to invest in the US markets. Credit rating agencies like the Fitch, Moody's, S&P Global fall under the conduit of global oligopoly. Global oligopoly means global, that is, their businesses are worldwide, and oligopoly is something where the business is a monopoly and there are very few players, and it is next to impossible to enter that line of business, and the world needs them so that the goods and services that are provided through them is something that is unparalleled. How is S&P Global, Fitch, Moody's an oligopoly? In fact, a global oligopoly. Stay tuned. Oligopoly, a market where a handful of companies control almost everything, and new players can't even enter even if they try. Imagine a giant desert, a city with only two water tanks. Everyone, rich, poor, visitors like tourists, hospitals, restaurants, all depend on just these two tanks for drinking water. You don't have alternatives. You don't have bargaining power. If they raise the price, you pay. If they reduce quality, you still pay. That's an oligopoly. Few players, huge dependency, massive barriers to entry, and the entire system leans on them. Now replace water with credit. Countries, banks, corporations, everyone needs a financial health certificate to borrow money. And guess who controls that? Just these three American companies: Moody's, S&P Global, and Fitch. They are the water tanks to global finance. They diagnose the world's credit health. They influence interest rates for those nations. And they decide how trillions of dollars flow through the global economy. In this video, we'll uncover why these three players dominate the entire ratings industry. Why no new rating agency can even break in. At a lateral example, imagine the world of finance as a massive city full of people, companies, banks, governments, all moving around with different levels of health. Now imagine three giant hospital chains that determine everyone's financial health. Those three are Moody's, S&P Global, and Fitch. These hospitals check blood pressure as debt level, heartbeat as cash flow, stress test as resilience during crisis, medical history, which is historic data. They charge money when a company comes for its first checkup, which is the initial rating. They charge every year for a monitoring package, surveillance. They run huge diagnostic labs selling financial data to banks and investors. They even provide preventive screenings like ESG and risk tools. And of course, they have specialist departments offering consulting and advisory. This is the business model. It's a global hospital monopoly. Except instead of treating people, they diagnose the financial health of the entire world's corporates and governments. Why it's almost impossible to start a new credit rating agency. Now imagine trying to open a new hospital in that city. Not a small clinic, but a world-class multi-specialty hospital, trusted governments. You would need heavy regulatory licenses. Just like medical boards don't give licenses easily, CRAs need NRSRO and global regulatory approval, a multi-year process requiring audits, methodologies, and proof of accuracy. 50 to 100 years of patient history. The big three have decades of data. A new CRA has zero medical records. Investors will not trust you. A massive global staff network, thousands of analysts covering every sector, every geography, every government. This takes decades to build. Trust, reputation, global acceptance. No investor will buy your medical report if they don't even trust your hospital. So companies won't pay you for ratings. Compliance, lawsuits, insurance, auditing. Running CRAs like running a hospital that get sued if the diagnosis is wrong. Startups can never survive this. So entry barriers are brutally high. This is why the big three have stayed the big three for decades. They are the invisible backbone of the global economy. For the common man, the lesson is simple. Understand how power works, because the companies you invest in, buy from, or borrow money from are all interconnected at the ownership level. This knowledge helps you make smarter decisions as an investor, as a borrower, and as a consumer.
All the three credit rating agencies, the Fitch, the S&P Global, and Moody's, made a similar mistake in evaluating the CDOs, or the collateralized debt obligations, during 2008. So what was the consequence of that? And in today's world, how do the CDOs look like in their new avatar? Stay tuned for the next section.